I'm going to start riding my Treadly to work.
We're feeling like Marcellus Wallace in Pulp Fiction every time we visit BP.
I'm pretty far from okay.
But Mark McGowan's feeling like Axe from Billions.
I almost got on my boat today and didn't get back off.
That's because a high oil price is good news for the WA budget. Because for the past 60-odd years, the WA government has very quietly and guiltily been getting rich from oil. We're the Beverly Hillbillies of the Western world.
Oil, that is. Black gold. Texas tea.
The government gets a royalty when oil is sold, assuming it comes from within WA's territorial waters, but the real bucks come from the rising price of natural gas. Oil goes up, gas goes up, because companies will switch to the cheaper fuel source, which then gets more expensive. That's the North West Shelf natural gas processing facility near Karratha, one of the biggest and most complicated industrial projects in the world. The WA government clips the ticket every time a molecule of gas comes out of that thing. And a lot of gas comes out of that thing.
Like you.
100 episodes worth. When the nerds at the WA Treasury set the current state budget, they based their calculations on oil being worth $77 a barrel. At the time, a lot of people thought that was too high because wind farms and solar panels and Elon Musk meant there would be no demand. Then Vladimir Putin got stroppy and the 10% of the world oil market he controlled was suddenly off limits because of trade sanctions. Demand outstripped supply and the price went up. A lot. Something WA's finance nerds thought would be worth $77 a barrel is now trading at $110. Every dollar above forecast delivers an extra $9 million to Mark McGowan, assuming that the high price is maintained over the course of the year. Now, if the price of a barrel stays where it is from now until June 30, the government will get a $162 million bonus for doing nothing.
Nice. How much oil is in a barrel?
42 gallons. 160 litres. The 42-gallon barrel has been a standard transport container for hundreds of years. They're the ones you see on pirate ships and whatnot. They were suitable for oil because a full barrel weighed about 300 pounds or 140 kilos, which is about as much as one man can push around. We obviously don't transport oil in barrels anymore, it's all in pipelines, but it's still a legacy unit of measurement.
Right.
You asked. Mark McGowan is now under pressure to give some of that $160 million back. He probably won't because the next election isn't for another 3 years, so there's no point in sucking up to us now. Plus, he needs to save his pennies to pay his legal bills and hedge against other liabilities.
Yeah, well, the pensioners won't be happy.
Putting fuel in the Toyota Crown is one of the bigger weekly expenses that old Australians face. Next week, Scott Morrison will be shouting about how our oldies will be getting the biggest pension boost in years. You'll hear him talk about how it's important to honour seniors with an appropriate standard of living as they age, given the sacrifices they have made.
Everybody wants something for nothing. I'm old! Gimme, gimme, gimme!
They are about to enjoy a life-changing pension increase of 2.1%. The pension bump, if you can call it that, will put a whopping $10 into the pockets of single pensioners every week.
That's just insulting.
News of the pension increase comes as the boss of food company SPC has warned us that baked beans and canned fruit are going up by as much as 20%, and the cost of filling up a Toyota Camry has jumped by $34 over the past year alone. So we're all behind at the moment.
Well, servos must be killing it.
Oil companies are killing it. Servos don't make as much as you'd think. 50% of what you pay at the Bowser goes on something called Singapore Mogan 95. That's the international price of refined petroleum. Two things go into determining that price, the cost of a barrel of oil and the value of the Australian dollar. Petrol and oil are both traded in US dollars. A strong Aussie dollar means we get more bang for our buck. 38% of what you pay at the Bowser goes on taxes and charges. Big ones here are the fuel excise, which is set at 38.14 cents a litre, regardless of what the price is, and then you've got the GST. So there's 12% left, which has to cover the cost of wholesalers, distributors, retailers, shipping, storage, wages, rent, the whole lot. All of which matters not one bit to Australian pensioners who are chewing through a week's discretionary spending driving to Waldex and having to make some hard choices on what to have for dinner.
Are you going to eat that?
And not much money left for holidays either.
The government's under pressure to allow the floating Petri dishes that are international cruise ships back into Australian ports. 2 years after the Ruby Princess brought plague down under, Federal Tourism Minister Dan Tehan is looking to reopen the trade. This will prove popular with seniors who have been pissed off that their favoured choice of vacation has been banned.
Are you ready to go back to Titanic?
Dan needs the cooperation of the states to make this happen because the premiers will be responsible for health protocols. Given what happened with the COVID-ravaged Artania when it was last at Fremantle Port, and Mark McGowan's love of his hard-border dick-thrusting Superman pose, our local oldies might be waiting a while. I don't know how much inbound tourism there's actually going to be. I doubt the passengers we kept stranded on the Artania have been tourism ambassadors for WA over the past 2 years. Feel free to wander out yonder, as long as you stay the f*** away from us on your disease-riddled virus prison.
Never mind, they can always cruise on local waterways.
A new ferry service could be coming to the Swan River. McGowan is going to tap ScoMo and Albanese for some money to build a jetty near the Raffles Hotel.
Makes sense.
It does. Ferries were the first form of public transport in Perth. First one started in 1831, just 2 years after the colony was founded. Took a while to get going properly, but by 1836 we had a regular service between Perth and Fremantle.
Did they have 42-gallon barrels on board?
I think that was probably sarcasm and I'm going to ignore it. Ferries make sense because instead of commuters sitting still in traffic on Canning Bridge and the freeway, they might be able to enjoy a relaxing ride on the gentle waters of the Swan, the jewel in Perth's crown. I'm Ben Harvey. For more Up Late, click the subscribe button below.